You are now listening to Feeding Off Each Other.
Welcome, everybody, to Feeding Off Each Other, the weekly podcast where we feed off talent, humor, knowledge, and awesome stories of our guests and each other. I'm Matt Dennison. The cricket's in my room. I'm joined, as always, by David, early bird gets the worm.
Attenborough.
Yep.
Is your name really Attenborough this whole time?
Hold up.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were that guy. Voice changed a little bit.
Hey, do you guys hear anything? Because I don't.
Oh, it's a splitter. Yeah, we
Hang
hear
on.
stuff. Hold
let
on.
me give you a wiggle.
How about now?
Wiggle,
How about
wiggle,
now?
wiggle,
Test,
wiggle.
test, test. Oh.
Can you hear
That
that
was
now?
the most effective wiggle anybody's given me all day.
Wait,
hold up.
I don't. That was pretty good.
Wait, so you couldn't even hear your own sound effects?
No, I did hear those, but I didn't hear any of you
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird.
before the
Technology.
wiggle. The wiggle fixed everything.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
As they
Usually
normally
does.
do.
As they will.
So yeah, I'm Matt Dennison, in case you forgot, and David Wiggins, and to his left is Mr. Jason. Wait, Cam, maybe you can help me out. I usually give these guys nicknames every single episode, like a middle name, like a Jason blank Lucas.
The Wiggler.
The Wiggler. Hey, don't take that away from me.
You're the only one who's wiggled so far.
You don't know that.
You've been wiggling this whole time?
You don't know what's happening under this table. All right, well, it's 8:18. It's early morning. Last night was probably the latest podcast we ever did.
No,
We had
the pod.
The Pod Pod? Oh,
Yeah.
the Pod Pod. The
That
pod
would've
in
been
the
latest.
in the what was that place called?
Pangea.
Pangea Pod.
Pods.
Yeah. You know that
Yeah.
spot?
You night owls, you guys potted in the Pangea?
Not yesterday, like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But we
sick.
each had our own separate pod and we couldn't see each other. And we just spoke to each other. It was
That's
pretty fun.
And we had just come from Sushi Village.
Oh yeah,
And
we
the
were.
vodka ice room.
Yeah, and the vodka ice room.
That's a big night for you guys.
Holy smokes! No, but last night we had Dylan Stark on, and it was pretty late because he was shredding, I guess. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So now we're hitting the earliest one, maybe since Crankworx, since last Crankworx, probably. 8 a.m. bright and early, got the coffees out, and we are talking to a very special guest today, and we're fortunate to fit him in. He's got a busy schedule, this fella. So let's not waste any more time. Who's reading the guest intro today?
I can do it.
We're very slammed. We were writing notes up until the last second, still writing notes when you walked in.
Awesome. Okay, you guys were like, oh, frig, he's here.
Yeah, I didn't have time to cover the sandwich, so you already figured it out. Would you like a
real?
cheese sandwich?
Why did I think
It's real,
that it
it's
was
real.
like, okay, cool. I
You
thought
said
it
you
was
wanted
like a
food.
prop.
Yeah.
I did. When did I say I wanted? Oh, because of the name of the podcast?
Yeah, take a bite.
No, it is not a real sandwich. But I really tongued it down good.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I was like, this would be better if it
That
was
was-
warmed up, but
that was a legitimate bite.
it actually looks like.
That was not theater. That was legit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's got a hard thing in the middle too, and everything else is rubber.
I got worms.
All right, well,
Now it's worth something. It's like a game-used jersey or
yeah.
something.
No, I'm putting that in a shadow box and
Yeah.
never touching it again.
Have you guys done that before on this?
You're the first person to actually put it in their mouth
Oh, well,
ever.
I'm
and
glad that I didn't tongue where somebody else had already tongued.
Don't
The
worry,
Eskimo brothers with someone.
I'll lie solid. I'm sorry. I hope you're not like a germaphobe, but I just
I'm
like
out.
ruined your day.
I'm out. Pranking me in the first minute.
Nobody cares.
And you already got to see it. All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, if you haven't already recognized his voice,
Yeah,
we'll
seriously.
introduce this man for you.
All right, today's guest joins us from sunny California, where they grew up shredding all things two wheels. From humble beginnings riding legendary spots like the Post Office Dirt Jumps to being a cast member on the hit reality mountain bike show Drop In, this guest quickly became a mainstay name. Quickly made a name for themselves in the mountain bike world. I wrote this last minute.
He's improvising as he goes. Impressive.
Freestyle.
Fast forward a few years, and this person was a mainstay in all the major slopestyle and freeride contests around the world. After racking up countless podiums and amazing video parts in the world's biggest mountain bike films, this guest is now the voice behind those same slopestyle and freeride contests they once competed in. Chuthers, brothers, and mothers, please give it up for a true mountain bike legend and good buddy, Cam McCaul.
Oh, I knew. I was like, he's gonna go to like the
That's the wrong
buttons
one.
after it. Oh,
Cut that. I tried playing the.
You are now listening to Feeding Off Each Other.
Wow.
Wait, which one was the cheering? I hit the wrong one.
I think it was this one.
There you go.
Oh no, that was
a laugh.
I think it's the yellow one.
okay. Well,
That's a sustained laugh.
I will say first,
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
Oh,
Okay, good.
Because I think it's really awesome what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate the invite last year. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it, but I appreciate the second invite because I thought maybe I blew my chance at doing it because I didn't accept the previous invite. But thanks for having me, and thanks for the intro.
No, it's all about persistence. We got to keep knocking on the door,
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a busy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, it's good though. But if you weren't busy, then that would be like.
Why are you here?
Not as fun. Yeah, why are you here if you're not busy? So yeah, keep it busy, man.
Yeah. So what does today look like for you?
Well, we're gonna do this, and then there's another interview at 9:30, and then there's a production meeting at noon, and then there's a signing at the Trek booth at 1, and then there's a pre-record for the Speed and Style broadcast at 1:30 that I'm not gonna be able to make, so we're trying to find another time for that. And then once the Speed and Style preliminary rounds get going, then I'm kind of watching those, figuring it out. And like as you guys were adjusting your notes last second, I'll be changing my notes because you like prepare to be able to talk about some people and then they don't make it into the round of 8, which is where the broadcast starts. So you just have to pay attention to everything and then help the production team sometimes figure out what to cut into the round of 16 highlights, which plays before the round of 8 starts. So once like the riders get on course, it gets a little bit busy. So like pack everything in beforehand. And then tonight, there's the Anthill Anytime premiere, and Darcy's asked if I would MC that. So I'm gonna go MC that, and then that's a day right there. The Friday at Crankworx. Yeah. Man.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
And the other night you were on stage playing guitar with Thomas Lemoyne.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So much fun. You guys saw about that.
Well, so we did a little interview with him outside of Après, unrelated to the show or anything like that. And we said, how'd the sound check go? And he said, oh, super well. We have a big surprise. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it.
Sick.
And so instantly my mind went to like, oh, there's going to be like a cake on stage and it's going to explode and there's going to be some sort of prank. I don't know why that's where my mind
There's going to be a fake sandwich they're going to make everybody bite into.
But yeah, I didn't expect that Cam McCall would be on stage playing guitar live. That's pretty sick.
Dude, so much fun. Like, just like I appreciate the invitation to do this. I was like really fired up on that invitation. I'm like, oh, this will be sick. And he raps, so his whole show is based around a backing track, which isn't something that I've ever done, right? Like usually the drummer is the boss. And like whatever the drummer's doing, everybody else would be like, all right, we're doing that. Even if it's wrong, like that's not the format of the song. We go with the drummer. But with the backing track, it's like, all right, you gotta play along to it. So if you're not playing along to it, it's just gonna be like noise pollution. So I went through his whole 45-minute set and found one song that had like, rock feel. And I was like, oh, this one would work. And it ended up just coincidentally being the last song in his set, which worked perfect. Because Dylan Siggers has an awesome band. They went on and opened up and killed it. They played an hour set. And it was like, everybody was going nuts. There's people like crowd surfing, like they were bumping into the lighting because they were crowd surfing and being held up so high. And then Dylan came back up, played drums. So in sound check, we tried the drums and guitar thing. We're like, it kind of works. Let's run through it like 3 more times. They're like, sound check over. We're like, okay, we won't run through it 3 more times. But we just got up there and ran through it. And like by that point, the crowd was already like, full of beans. And then they were jumping beans. And it was so much fun. It was sick.
Oh. FOMO. I wish I was there.
Let's do more. There's like mountain biking festivals.
Yeah.
Need more music and stuff to do at night. So like, don't worry about the FOMO because it was so fun that it wouldn't make any sense to not do something like that again.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. We should like film it live or something, and maybe want to film a little mini music video.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
You guys are well versed in that.
Hey, chuthers! Looking to gear up for your next mountain bike adventure? Stumped on those always changing bike standards? Check out jensenusa.com. For over 30 years, Jensen USA has been your rider-owned one-stop shop for all things cycling. With over 10,000 products from top brands in stock and ready to ship, they've got everything you need for any ride.
That's right, Matt. With a team of Gear Advisor pros ready to help and super fast same-day shipping, Jensen USA makes it easy to get back on the trails. No more waiting around for your gear to arrive. Meanwhile, their price protection policy lets you ride confidently, knowing you've gotten the best deal.
Yep, whether you are a seasoned rider or you're just getting started, you can shop with the confidence that you'll get the bikes and gear you'll need. Jensen USA provides detailed product descriptions on every product on their website, making finding the right products fast and efficient. And if you have questions, their team of Gear Advisor pros are standing by, ready to help.
So visit jensenusa.com to find the perfect gear for your next ride. With fast shipping, unbeatable prices, and expert support, Jensen USA is here to keep you pedaling wherever the ride takes you.
And now back to the pod.
So, what's going on? Like Crankworx in general this year? We got some new stuff. Pump Track was canceled today.
We got some new stuff. Pump Track is canceled. Woo!
We got women's slope style.
Yeah, that's
First
new.
time. Are you announcing that one?
Yeah, and they haven't said this yet, but Caroline Buchanan, obviously, she's been competing in all of them, and it's been awesome. But she's going to join me in the booth for it, which will be cool. And it's because she's going to be doing a lot of broadcast time at the Olympics, and she leaves on Sunday morning to go there and do that. And she was like, oh man, this is a pretty sick opportunity, risk versus reward. Ride Joyride, the day before, potentially crash. So she's like, I'm going to be in the booth. I was surprised when she said it, but I'm stoked to have her in the booth. So it'll be Caroline and Alan and I for the women's event. But it's a big deal to have a women's category at Joyride. I mean, at Crankworx Slopestyle in general for the women's category. The time was right, and it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, what can we expect? Because I didn't look at a schedule or anything. It's longer now, the event.
Yeah.
When does it start? When do the women start to ride?
So they're going to do it the same way that they do all the other disciplines, where there's a women's category, there's a men's category, and they'll go women run one, men run one, women run two, men run two. So yeah, it's a longer broadcast because there's a whole another category in there. But it follows the same structure as all the other disciplines.
Okay.
I'm going to burp over here.
Oh,
Do it on mic next time.
I'm adding that to the soundboard.
I burp glitter. I burped out of my face. I farted out of my face. Never mind.
This guy announces Crankworx Joyride, everybody. That is amazing.
That run was so sick, I farted out of my face.
There's your little teaser snippet.
Okay, I want to ask cliche question. How'd you get into the announcing? How'd you get good at it? You've probably answered this a bazillion times.
Not really.
No?
I'm happy to answer it. So I broke it.
What are you doing?
There you go.
Oh.
Did you guys lose me for a second?
No, we still have
I
you.
lost
probably
me.
your headphones.
It's the headphones.
Just let me know if you need a wiggle.
I love microphones. That was me hugging the microphone.
Gotcha.
So, I'll take it back all the way to this, and then I'll bring it back up to now. I used to I love microphones so much. I've always gravitated toward them. When my brother was playing Little League, I used to get up in the booth and just announce the Little League game. So I always loved announcing. I kind of forgot about that until I found myself commentating Rampage. I'd be commentating my brother's run, and I got a flashback moment. I'm like, I used to do this.
Whoa.
Aptos Little League, at Aptos Junior High. And while I was competing, I guess when I would crash and get hurt and be out of the event, I would go find TJ Walker with Boombox, who does the broadcast for Crankworx. He did the broadcast for all the other competitions back in the day too, even the Highland Claymore Challenge and stuff. If I crashed in practice and I was out of the event, I'd be like, yo, TJ, do you need anything? He'd be like, yeah, finish corral, interviews. Here's your microphone, here's your headset. We'll get you up to speed on how this works. And so I already started learning how it worked back then. And then as soon as I felt I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'm done competing. I just reached out and I was like, hey guys, is there any spot on your team where you need somebody? Because I would love to get into this. And, I'll make coffee for it. I'll do finish corral interviews. I'll do sideline reporting, whatever. He's like, yeah, you're in the booth. You're the analyst for Slopestyle. And I was like, sick.
Was it really that fast?
Yeah.
Hired you on the spot?
Yeah. The next season after I decided to stop competing in Slopestyle, I was up in the booth. And then that was just you know, you just learn as you go. So learning as an analyst, and like as an analyst, when you're new, you sit next to the host and you watch all the stuff that they have to do. And you're like, oh my God, I could never do that. Like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to like pick up and start it and guide it and lead it and pass it. And, but as you're sitting there going like, I'm so glad I don't have to do that, you're learning what it would be like to do that. And so then when that call came, like, hey man, would you want to like slide over into that next seat and host all the events? I was like, oh boy, yes, let's do it. You know, let's figure it out. And so you learn a little bit every time. You start out and you're like, that was a mistake, that was a mistake, that was a mistake. You watch the broadcast over and you figure out what you'd like to do better. And you learn every time. And it's weird how time flies. But my first season doing commentary was 10 years ago. This is my 10th season doing it. And that went by fast, which is I competed in slopestyle from like when it started in 2003 until my last season in 2014. So Crankworx, you know, started in 2004. There was a slopestyle contest here in 2003, but it started being called Crankworx in 2004. So my Crankworx riding career went from 2004 to 2014. And now my commentary career on Crankworx started in 2015, and here we are wrapping up the 2014. So it's my 10th season. You know, I did 11 riding and now I've done 10. It's like, it's almost the same duration, but my riding career, left to right, let's do it like this. My riding career, that 10, 11 years seemed like it took so much longer. And then this like commentary 10 years just flew by. That's just getting old, but yeah, it flew by.
We just did a video, a brief history of the Whistler bike
Yeah, take a
park.
bite of the sandwich.
Yeah,
You just talk a lot.
I figured maybe the second time I'd be more successful.
Yeah, my moisture might help.
I'm going to be wondering for the rest of my life whether that was a real bite or not, that first one. Don't tell me.
No, I was like, oh, this thing's going to be so dry and cold, but like, just to be a team player feeding off each other. Okay. Sorry, Jason. What did you say?
Spit on that thing?
Wow. Oh,
What?
Haktua. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a global phenomenon.
Yeah, that's all it takes, man.
You guys get her on the pod yet?
Not yet.
Bidding on each other?
Spitting on each other. Where were we? Oh yeah, we made a video, brief history of the Whistler Bike Park.
Saw it.
And yeah, thank you.
Watched it.
We were going through really old footage of like the first Crankworx events. Sick.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
And in 2004, really? I don't know what I was going to say even. So in the first Crankworx 2004,
I think Cam's
were
calling an Uber home.
Yeah.
He's getting out of here.
It's different. No.
I know
You'll
exactly
like
what you're going to say. Okay.
You'll like it when I bring it up. Go for it.
Okay. In those first Crankworx events, you're there. You're competing. There's like awesome shots of you flipping a hip and like no canning the last drop. It's like scaffolding. I was like, holy shit, is that Cam? You're so young in it, right?
So young,
like,
yeah.
Long hair and everything. And yeah, just to see like you're in all the footage that we looked through all the way up until 2014, basically.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy, man. I had lucky enough to have really cool parents who were down to drive us up here in 2003 for the first year that they held a slopestyle contest on the Boneyard. And then we've been here every year since.
What was the story you were going to bring up?
Oh, well, that video, in the credits, you guys had put this quick clip of Taylor Sage and I on the podium.
Yeah.
And when
Oh,
I
that was
watched
Taylor,
it,
okay.
I was flying up here, and when I watched it, I screen grabbed it so I could show Taylor. And there it is, because he's like...
Is he the
going
one?
nutty, like swinging the thing?
Oh,
yeah.
we didn't know who that was.
That's Taylor Sage. And
So what's the scene there? What's happening?
I asked him, I was like, what is going on here? And he remembered, he was like, it's 4 across. And he's like, I won. Because of course, he's not going to forget that. He's like, I won. And we shared the podium because I got something, probably 4th. Okay. I had 5 4ths at Crankworx Slopestyle. I was going to say
that was your
4th.
number, right?
Yeah. And I just embraced it and put it on the jersey.
Yeah.
But I actually I don't know what place I got in that, but we were in the final together and he won. I'm sure he'll never let me forget that, even if I try. And then I think he went back to the motorhome because at that point in time, Taylor was just like going nuts. Went back to the motorhome, had a couple beers and came back and then just partied it up on the podium. And he told me that whole story. I was like, oh, what a rock star. He's like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if he was proud of his performance, but he used to. It was classic back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember that, but Taylor's one of my best friends in the world. So I like Taylor, sorry, because I know he's like,
disconnected.
if he's watching this, he's like, please don't talk about me, dude. But he would show up with a megaphone and just heckle at like the bike magazine video awards and stuff like that. He would just be the kid out there just like, you suck, wittier than that. But that was his calling card. That was his jam back in the day. And now he's a filmer. He's made all kinds of awesome stuff.
We've watched plenty of his films.
Yeah,
plenty of inspiration.
He's one of my favorite humans.
Never met him, don't know his face. Obviously, that's why we couldn't recognize him in the screen. But
Yeah.
I'm just impressed you made it to the very last screen of our video. Yeah. We're watching it live at the plaza or online?
I was watching online. I was flying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here.
So you had no choice but to.
Yeah. Like, don't let that take away from. I still watch. There's a lot of things on the internet, but I chose to watch that.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh man, so much to talk about. So little time. What you got to get out here? At, what, like 9:15 or something? How much time here? Let's make sure we have a heart out here.
Yeah, like 9:20. We'll just go right up to the wire. Right?
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I was doing a deep dive on your YouTube channel last night. I was going all the way back 17 years ago. I don't know when the last time you've ever done this was.
Is that actually says
17 years ago? We got the very first video is mountain bike front flip.
Yeah, cool.
Oh,
and
it's good. It's rotating perfectly.
sideways.
It's a vertical video uploaded sideways, 2 pixels, filmed on a potato, possibly a hot dog. And
Aaron Chase.
oh, wow.
That was Aaron Chase filming it.
And I'm guessing that was one of your first front flips.
Yeah, for sure. It took me forever to learn that trick. And so once I actually landed it, I was so fired up. So I was like, all right, we got to film this the best way possible because it's a big moment. So Aaron Chase, take your potato, turn it sideways, and then eat the camera afterwards.
I also really enjoyed this video.
I'm so glad this isn't unlisted right now.
So this is Jackson Goldstone hits the pool jump.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, this looks so scary.
So this is Jackson Goldstone. Oh man, how old is he there? He must be like 7 or something.
Just old enough to know how to swim, I think.
Yeah. It's like the Nirvana baby.
Just fresh out of swimming lessons. Yeah, exactly.
So,
oh my God, it's so funny.
Oh yeah, I mean that was awesome. That's awesome to see. Well, we actually talked about maybe we should bring up the pool jump because that's like burned into our memory, right?
Sick.
From like Seasons, was it? Or something?
Yeah, it was. I would just say about that video first. I think my favorite part, the best part about being involved in this sport and this scene for so long is to get to like look back at stuff like that, like how many top pros there are now that I remember when they were fetuses, like fresh out of
Fetuses
water
off each
wings. Yeah.
Feet
And then
high.
to see where they are now, like, I coached summer gravity camps here in Whistler for a really long time. And we had kids come through camp like Finn Isles, so many big names. And then to just watch them go on in the sport and then to like bump into their parents and stuff like that. I saw, Jackson's whole family the other day when we were sound checking that Lemoyne show, and it was so cool to catch up with them. But to like tune into a broadcast and see these kids that I remember when they were actually kids, like on the top of the podium, not only in World Cup downhill, but in slope style and stuff like that. It's so sick. That's the coolest part about like, being in something for this long is those moments pop up.
Yeah, it's amazing. How did he make it to your house? Like,
Oh, he was everywhere. Are you kidding me? Like, like Ron would bring him to every bike event, and like that kid has like, he's got like 15 years of experience when he was like 18, like,
yeah.
and he would come to Rampage. He would come to all the different, big events in Europe and stuff like that. So who knows, maybe it was like Sea Otter or something. And of course they're going to be there, and they were always just cool, and so they'd always just be around, and we must have invited them over to try the pool jump or something. And by the looks of it, that was when we had just recently redesigned it, and so we were probably sessioning it a bunch. But I mean, yeah, I would not have been doing much if it weren't for the pool jump. Back to like having cool parents that facilitated the stuff we needed to have, and the places we needed to be able to get where we eventually got. Like my parents letting us jump into the swimming pool to learn tricks was how we learned tricks, and then how we could, get invited to contests, and then how once we were invited, we had enough in our bag to like do well at the contest, which then snowballs into being invited to more contests, which, you know, gives you exposure, gets you sponsors. And then here we are, like, I'm 38, which is weird. I'm 2 years away from being 40. But still here, still doing stuff thanks to, you know, the parents loading up the van and building jumps into the swimming pool.
I feel like that pool is just fucked up after all those jumps. Like
You can say fuck on this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yes.
can't do anything.
Yes. I'm going to get all my fucks out before the broadcast because there's no fucks in the broadcast.
No fucks given. Yeah. You ever dropped something you shouldn't have on the broadcast?
I just dropped a sound effect that I shouldn't have. I didn't know which one that was going to be. It was not appropriate.
Creamy.
I can't hear myself again. Which is kind of nice because I'm going to be able to hear myself all day. So, wiggle. Master
Hello,
wiggler.
hello.
There you go.
My
Thanks.
cable don't wiggle.
Dude, it's
full.
and it's like better now.
Oh, wow.
Way better.
Wow, I'm a sound engineer now.
Way to go. What was the question?
Yeah, with that, I feel like that pool was fucked up. I'm surprised your parents were like, all right, yeah, take your greasy bikes and jump in there, learn some tricks.
You want to know something cool that I just learned or relearned? Because, you know, you forget things. But I relearned this at breakfast yesterday. I had breakfast with Tyler, my brother, his family, his wife, and 1-year-old turned 1 yesterday, and my dad. So we had breakfast yesterday. And in conversation, we were talking about how my dad ended up on the lift with Jeff Watts, who's Greg Watts' dad, and like Andy Watts, Greg's brother, and I, we met each other like way long ago. Like, we've been riding together forever. And so we've known Jeff, Greg, Andy forever. And Jeff owns a masonry business. I think he's retired now. But I learned at breakfast yesterday that Greg Watts' dad did the bricks at the pool. And my dad was like, yeah, it's crazy how long ago that was. And these bricks are still standing. You know, like, he's a really good mason. Wow, what a great work he did. I was like, Jeff Watts did the masonry on the pool? So it's not, we get to say fuck. It's not actually fucked up at all because Greg Watts' dad is such a good mason. The pool's still in good shape, man.
Oh, wow. Well,
Now maybe our children will ride it at some point because we just saw from that video it's possible for children to ride it. But that child was Jackson Goldstone, so that's kind of an anomaly.
He's got a special
It's
sauce.
really steep, the rolling.
It looks so gnarly. In that.
So yeah, you're welcome, Jackson. That's why you're so good at downhill because you rode down that steep rolling.
pay for it. So you still have that house?
That's where my parents live. Yeah.
Okay.
And my parents still live there.
Okay. Yeah, well, so I take it you were living there at the time.
I was living in that town at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I was living in the house anymore. I had spread my wings and moved out by then.
Were your sorry, I'm like stuck in the pool. Were your parents using the pool, or was it just like, all right, that's a bike jump now?
No, for sure. Yeah, it was still an actively used pool. But like it wasn't always an actively heated pool. And I know you guys think...
Yeah, because Jackson Goldstone, he freaks out. He's like, oh my God, it's cold.
It's cold. I know you guys think California must have been warm all the time, but Santa Cruz gets cold-ish. You know, I've lived in Bend, Oregon for the last 10 years, so I do know cold. And when we really wanted to get some tricks, we got a contest coming up or whatever. We just need to keep the knife sharp. It was cold. You know, it's colder than the ocean. The ocean is like 52 degrees. Santa Cruz has a surf contest called the Cold Water Classic. So Santa Cruz is known for having a cold ocean. I mean, the Oregon coast is not much colder than Santa Cruz. And up here, it's not much colder than Santa Cruz. And the water was like 50, 51, like a degree colder than the ocean sometimes. So we'd be wetsuited up a lot of times and we'd be practicing tricks.
What was like the gnarliest trick you're landing in there? Because it seems like a pretty narrow pool. It'd be pretty terrifying. Like a foam pit seems a little more forgiving.
Yeah, I will say that there's more space on the left than there is on the right. And all of our friends growing up learned to spin to the left, you know? So like, if you look at like R-Dog, A-Rev, so Ryan Howard, Alex Ravelas, my brother, me, a lot of us, we ride left foot forward and we spin to the left, which technically is improper, which like in action sports, is there anything like, is this proper? It's free form. It's like punk rock. You're supposed to dress like this, like spin whichever way you want, you know, but we all spin to the left. And I think it's to avoid the daunting Jeff Watts sculpted bricks on the right.
That's so funny.
But somehow nothing really, it's still there. So we'll knock on, I'm assuming this is wood.
That's styrofoam.
This is rubber. This is styrofoam. Nothing's real here.
Well, that's wood.
The worst thing that happened in the pool jump, this is fun. This is a cool thing to talk about. Robbie Borden, the legend, stomped some of the biggest, we can say fuck, we can say shit, stomped some of the biggest shit ever stomped on a mountain bike. The craziest thing that ever happened was we had brought in a like a drop to learn tricks off a drop. So we slid the ramp back, so like rolling right to ramp, and then had the drop 4 feet wide, 8 feet tall, like I don't know, some feet long. It's a rectangle, so it's long. But he got up there and like was offline and fell off it and just landed on his feet like a cat. But that could have been bad if he fell off and landed on his head or something like that. So like that's the worst thing that happened, even though a lot of gnarly stuff could have happened. But yeah, I mean, think about like Greg Watts, all the tricks that he learned. He was the first to do like a double backflip, first to do a flip whip, first to do like a flip bar, like all those like crazy combos. He learned all that stuff in that pool, and like nobody ended their career in or like slightly out of the pool, which is miraculous.
What are some of your firsts, world firsts?
Oh man.
Front
I guess
flip
like
Superman.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
probably front flip Superman
For sure.
on a mountain bike. I was working on that one right when I started doing stuff with Nitro Circus, and Andy Buckworth was doing stuff with Nitro Circus, and we were both working on front flip Supermans. And I had seen a video online of Todd Main doing front flip Superman. As I was working, I was like, oh my god, somebody's working on it. And like, and then that clicks your brain. You're like, oh wait, it's definitely possible. And then when I met Andy, I had like flip levers like Moto to stay with the bike. And Andy Buckworth was like, oh, that's lame, dude. You need to do it with your brake lever. So he showed me that you could just do it with your brake lever. So like Todd Main did it, Andy Buckworth is doing it, and then I did it on a mountain bike. So it's not a world first on 2 wheels, but like I think I was the first person to do a front flip Superman on a mountain bike. So to answer that question, probably that one. Man, I had a downside 3-whip clip one time, and I was so fired up on it because I hadn't seen anybody do it yet. And then our VX 2000 got stolen. And so I have no proof of that, but like that was before anybody had done it. But
That sucks.
but I mean,
No,
when it comes,
trust me, bro. Trust me. It's on the camera. That's stolen.
Yeah. No, we lost some good footage that day. Some tweakers at Boulder City had broken into the van, and so I probably didn't lock the van though, so they probably didn't really break in. But yeah, my tally of world's first is very small compared to like some of the other riders that used the water jump and racked up some worlds first. So like Greg racked up all those. And then my brother was the first one to do a triple tail whip. And that's pretty cool, you know?
Was that at Highland? Or where was
He did it on the Nitro Circus ramp
okay.
when we were practicing before the first tour. That was down in like Temecula area. And he showed up and got a couple practice runs on the jump. And he's like, I think I'm going to try it. Because it's like way more airtime at that point in time than we were used to. He's like, I think I'm going to try a triple whip. So I got the camera, and unlike Aaron Chase in that one clip, I held it the correct direction. Thanks for shooting that, Aaron Chase. and got that clip, and that was sick. And like now people do triple whips like mid-run on like small jumps, you know? But
So crazy.
yeah, that happened fast.
Yeah, I mean, tricks are like so insane these days. We were just talking about moto yesterday, how like the whips are just like bonkers. What's blowing your mind these days, like in sport in general?
Well, you just like planted that in my brain, and that's definitely something that's blowing my mind. I listened to a whole podcast with that dude. Forget his name now, but what's his name? The guy on the electric motorcycle who does that whip that's like unlike any other whip. That's
Starts with an M, doesn't it?
He used to be a shooter too. Like listening to that podcast, he's like, yeah, I used to shoot full time and like a shot, went on a trip, shoot with Cameron Baird and Clay Porter. And he's like shouting out Clay. He's like, Clay, man, that guy's amazing. Some of the best shots ever. And I was like, whoa, this guy knows Clay. And he used to shoot with Cameron Baird is the guy who Clay does a lot of shooting with, and John Reynolds and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, he crossed over into our world a little bit. But that is definitely one of the most impressive things I've seen this year in action sports is the way that guy's doing that whip on those electric bikes. That's sick.
I heard Nikolai Rogatkin did like 2 twisters in a row on the track or somewhere.
On this one?
Yeah,
Oh.
something.
Last night at dinner, we had a little Trek dinner, and Emil
Oh, thanks for the invite.
passed along. Yeah, thanks for the invite, man. Thanks for the fake sandwich. That's what you get. He showed a video of Tim Bringer, Bronje. I just don't say Bronje in the broadcast because I think it would sound like I'm like forcing it too much. I
Say it once.
Bringer. Bronje.
Yeah, just say it once with a really French accent.
Bronje. I had a croissant for breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, you saw him with that croissant. But Emil showed this video of Tim double flipping the boner log on the bottom of the slope style. This is fun because I got to say cannon log in the broadcast, but I say boner log here. Super fuck shit, boner log. But he double flipped the boner log last night at practice.
What?
So that blew my mind.
Wow.
And like surfing, you did ask what's blowing my mind in sport, action sports right now, right? Yeah, like aerial surfing right now is blowing my mind.
I don't even know what that is.
For sure. Well, just
the
like,
foil? Or what is it?
It's like
aluminum foil?
It was in the X Games in the 90s. It's like skydiving with a snowboard. No, just kidding. No, like the airs that people are doing in surfing, like the tricks they're doing out of the wave and landing them. They look like they're snowboarding. They're doing crazy rotations and like no grabs and stuff like that. And wave pools have made it so they can actually practice the same wave over and over again, which is something that we're privy to in mountain biking and BMX and all those other sports because we got airbags, foam pits galore. But they have wave pools now that can give them the same wave, and they can expect a ramp to pop up at the same time in the wave every time. So they're doing all these crazy tricks right now. So that's another thing that's blowing my mind in action sports right now, and that's fun to watch.
You know what blew our mind in the last couple of years? We talked about it last night. Was when Dylan Stark busted out a rail and grinded a rail mid Bull Rampage.
Dude, I completely missed that in the broadcast.
We noticed that. We watched it. We rewound.
We
like,
talked about it.
Yeah. I can't remember what you said it was.
People don't forget.
I said he did like a little trials hop or something.
Yeah, you said he did a trials hop.
Because from my little screen, it looked like he just did a little hop and then down, and I was like, what? And he was like, there was like some buzz that he was going to do something never before seen in Rampage. It's like, you did a little trials hop? I was like, oh, I remember like Vaughn Williams doing that. Like down. Do you guys remember that video? Down? Like he used to like trials hop up to big Rampage features and then send them.
No.
I don't remember.
Watch it. Dude, if we could find that old video, that's one that everybody forgot about. No, it was like down, double down, third down, all that series. And then Jib. I think Jib was the one where Vaughn Williams would just go out to Utah and like send huge drops with like a trials approach, but like on a full downhill bike. It was like doing trials on a downhill bike. Cool. Anyways, I thought that's what Dylan was doing. And then his whole like group of homies, like his build crew and everything, they came up to the booth and they're like pissing me. They're like, tell him what he did, man. Tell him what he did. I was like, oh, what did he do? And they're like, it's a rail. And I was like, oh, it's a rail. Okay. It's like, I'll get to it. But then there's like other stuff happening, like other runs going. So I didn't like say, by the way, he had a rail out there. But that's cool. Like the stuff that like he's doing now with it, he had one in his X Games video where he like put it up in another scenario. And like, imagine what you could do if you wanted to bring those things. You see the rails that he's doing downstairs and stuff, fully locking in on like his BB and crank arm and stuff. And he could do one off like a big clip. I'm sure he's going to do all kinds of crazy stuff off of that rail. But I think he was worried that like he was going to get in trouble for that or something. It's like, I don't know. I'm just the guy talking about stuff, but I think that's cool. Like hide rails all over the place. I don't care. That's awesome.
Well, he said Todd Barber, organizer at the end, was like, well, did it add another rule?
Oh, did he? Really? Okay. Well, so much for that. That's what filming videos is for. There are no rules.
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
Is there a rule that you can't get up and fill up my water again? Can I do it?
Yeah, there is a rule. We had it written down somewhere. Oh, yeah, we wrote it on a sandwich.
Dave the Water Wiggins.
Yeah. Attenborough.
I think no one really realizes your setup when you're commentating, right? Like you guys aren't privy to like watching it. You're watching a small screen, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Dave.
Dude, it just crosses the cameras, nearly falls over a cord.
Man.
Oh, this is loose.
Jeez.
But yeah, you guys are just watching small screens, right? Like you're watching what we're watching, essentially.
Oh yeah, we're 100% watching what you're watching, and like 90% of the time, whether it's a Crankworx event or Rampage, you're facing the other way to like the groundbreaking moments that are gonna live on forever. They're happening right behind you, but you're right here on this little screen.
Yeah.
But that's chill.
I mean, but that comes with its own complications where you're going to essentially miss stuff. Or when people are doing slopestyle contests and they're doing like a quad bar spin, oppo spin to a toboggan, inevitably you're going to miss something.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I guess it works though, because my way of looking at it is like, we're seeing what the viewers are seeing. So like if we're seeing more than what the viewers are seeing and we're talking about it, it's not going to make any sense. So as much as there's some FOMO involved with like turning your back to like the world's greatest action, I'm seeing what you're seeing. So I'm not like saying some stuff and confusing the audience and stuff like that. So that works out. This is bubbling. Oh, it's just
it's
Alka-Seltzer. Thank you, David, by the way. Thank you.
Glacier water.
Glacier water.
Yeah.
What was it? I don't remember what I was going to ask.
I was just thinking we should have had a blind ranking for like top Crankworx moments.
Top Crankworx moments.
Maybe we could write it on the fly.
I got my number one.
Continue. Okay, well, maybe we'll just go for it then.
Just go number one.
Yeah. What's your top Crankworx moment?
Hands down, Lil Moyne jumping over that final feature. And I'll tell you why that's my number one moment is because it's a party trick. And Joyride is a fucking party, right? Like there are people who come up here and they don't realize that Crankworx is a biking festival. They think it's a party. Like you guys live in Vancouver. Like, do you know people who are like, we're going to Crankworx?
Oh yeah, like everybody's heard of Crankworx.
Yeah. Bass Van Steenbergen, I think it was a year or two or 2 years ago or whatever. He had friends. I might butcher the story, Bass, but I don't know if you're watching, so fuck it.
No.
He had friends who were coming up here for like a bachelor party or something like that, and they were asking him, they're like, yo, man, you going up to Crankworx? And he's like, yeah, I'll be there. Like, he's like, sick. Well, you know, the party's going to be sick. And he's like, yeah, I'll be a little busy because I got some, what are you doing? He's like, well, it's a bike festival too, and I compete in it. And like, at the time, he was like king of Crankworx and stuff. And he's like, yeah, so I'll be a little busy, but like, you know, I'll rub elbows with you. And they were like floored that there was more going on at Crankworx than just like parties. I was like, that's sick. But when Lemoyne jumped over that final feature, dude, I had like I'm getting them again. I had like the most like grotesque goosebumps. Dude, you were well acquainted with all those options.
It's been 100 episodes.
Yeah, it's so sick. I was like, I just had this like great feeling of like the goosebumps were grotesque. And I was just like, and it reminded me like, that is what Crankworx is all about. That's like the soul of Crankworx and the original magic moments of like yesteryear. And he brought it back to that, dude. And like everybody felt that. And I straight up just like, I took my headphones off and I just turned over. And I was in the big, structure, the big tower. And I just like took it in, like the wall of sound that was coming from all those humans right there. I wanted nothing between my ear holes and that sound and that energy. And it was like my favorite Crankworx moment. It was so fucking sick.
I remember where I was. Like you, I had my back turned to the glorious moment that would be burned into history forever. I was in the GLC. We were at the Pink Bike Party, and I was talking to someone I knew, and facing the other way, and all of a sudden he just goes, holy shit, what the fuck? And I'm like, what the hell's happening? And he points, and I look back there, and I just missed his first attempt.
Yeah.
Where, what happened? Did
he crashed.
He crashed, yeah.
Like,
so
detonated on it.
Like hard.
Yeah.
I missed that one, but now I was kind of tipped off, so I was,
Like, he's going to do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I think I saw the real one, but yeah, that was a pretty good moment.
It reminded me of like yesterday. I mean, we're going to date ourselves here, but like the Bear Claw 3ing the road gap.
Which was
like,
also
05.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
was that
holy
moment.
shit.
Well-
Or like, honestly, when you were doing bar spin and tail up on the big gap in the middle, it was like, what the fuck is that? Like, that trick shouldn't exist, right?
So yeah, like to give credit to the other moments, I would say that is my number one moment, but because it reminded me of all those moments before, and Crankworx is such a sport now, which is awesome, where the whole thing was a party trick to begin with. It was all a big experiment. You're going up the lift and people are looking down and they're going like, who's going to ride that? And it's like, there's all this buzz about like, who's going to ride this teeter tower and stuff like that, just weird features. And then it became a real sport. It's at a level now to where, who knows, man? Who knows where it's going to go? Could it be in the Olympics someday? I don't know. There's like so many things involved in that, but it is like a legitimate sport with a world tour and all this and that, which is a great thing. But to have a moment that did bring it back to the spirit of when it started, that moment is, riding on the shoulders of the giants that came before, like that Bear Claw 360 and those things that are burned into all of our memories. And so it's my number one moment because it reminds me of all the other moments that would fill, 2 through 10 if you wanted to sit down and do that, but who does?
How often are you surprised with like a trick? Like, cause I feel like sometimes you're tipped off to know like what someone's run is going to look like. Are you ever like, whoa, I completely did not see that coming. No one told me that was going to happen.
Yeah, less often now. So like, I think one of the biggest moves ever in slopestyle, and it was like 6 or 7 years ago now, it was Reeder's flip whip off the flat drop. He did it in Innsbruck, and yeah, I was a little tipped off on that one. I already kind of knew it was coming. but it was still mind blowing, and nobody's touched that yet. I want to keep bringing this up like every opportunity I get, because nobody's touched that yet with all the crazy stuff people are doing. And I told Brett this on the phone a few months ago. I was just like, dude, do you realize that nobody has messed with that move yet? And like, that means something, because the level everybody's on, they're messing with everything. But some of those like half cab tricks that he was doing and that Brandon was doing, and the backflip tail off the flat drop, nobody's messed with that yet. So yeah, you are a little bit more tipped off on those big moves that are going to happen, because the level is so high. People are actually practicing their tricks day one. And the art and the athleticism is to be able to link it with everything else in your run. So like, one of the best things I think from the last event in Innsbruck was Fedco's windshield wiper to then windshield wiper in reverse order, you know? Cool. And like, I had heard he was doing that. So
what's a windshield wiper?
So it's a 360 with 2 tail whips. The tail whips are going in opposite directions. So it's like you do a tail whip one way and you do a tail whip the other way. So while in the middle of a 360, it's either a 3 whip where the whip is going the way it wants to go along with the 360, or a 360 downside tail whip where it's going against the direction of the 360. It looks kind of like a decade. So you do a tail whip one way and a tail whip another way while doing a 360. So with that, you can either do it the long way or the short way, you know, first. So he did it the long way to the short way, and then the short way to the long way. Something like that.
That's insane. It sounds like a video game. I was trying to recall. Were you ever in a video game?
No, never in a video game, but Brian Lopes and Richie Schley were.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
I don't think Lopes understood the reference, which is funny because he was the one in the video game, but...
Downhill domination.
Yeah, downhill domination. You threw water bottles at people. That was like your weapon to like knock them off their bike and pass them.
Yeah,
so
you
like,
could ride llamas and fucking aliens and shit.
Yeah, that's right.
There was an alien. Or an alien character, maybe.
Alien character.
Yeah.
Is that like you're trying to be politically correct because there might be aliens amongst us? You're like, it's an alien or an alien-like character. Are we there yet? Holy cow. So I had posted a picture of a Trek Roscoe, which is a badass like trail hardtail, and it's got like 1,000 water bottle cages on it. So I posted a photo with like 1,000 water bottles on my bike, and Brian Lopes was like, "You got enough water bottles?" And I'm like, "I learned from you. I need them to take out my competitors." And I don't think he understood the reference.
There's no chance.
You were the guy in the video game.
You definitely didn't play it. Played it once.
I'm gonna circle back real quick because you said something that made me think of something.
I said video games.
You said video games, yeah.
And you went?
Yeah, I went, hey. But it was, you know how I was like telling you about Fedco's like 360 windshield wiper and then other, and you know, it's like, what, like when you describe that, it's like too much, And I would say that's why women's slope style is so entertaining, because there's less of those crazy, complicated tricks. And if you don't watch slopestyle all the time and you don't know what all these tricks are, they all kind of look the same, which I recognize as a thing. But in the women's category, they're like doing first ever in competition every single event. And somebody who's a casual observer can really tell the difference between one run and another run, which I hear is helping people like find something to sink their teeth into a little bit with slopestyle. And it's just going to get crazier. There was a girl who unfortunately crashed in the first practice, but she does double flips all the time, like on Masters of Dirt shows. Sick. So like it's pretty soon we're gonna see double flips in the women's category too. And like I get it, some people are like, oh, they're not doing that cool tricks. And it's like, but for competition, it's like, you know, it's pretty good. Like they're battling it out at the level they're at right now, and the level's increasing so fast.
Super quick.
We're gonna be seeing double flips and front flips really soon and stuff like that. So yeah, you made me think about that. Well, I was watching your eyes roll in the back of your head when I was talking about Fedco's tricks. I was like, oh yeah, let's talk about this.
Oh man, I can't wait to see the women throw down.
Yeah,
I remember a long time ago actually being on the Boneyard course.
When you used to be able to like ride it after the event.
That was sick.
Yeah,
that was the best.
I don't remember her name. I remember her like Instagram handle, something like mommy shreds or something like that. But I'm pretty sure she did the first female backflip.
It's like it goes fast.
Yeah, it goes
right now.
Come a long way.
Super quick.
Do you ever show up to these courses and go like, I bet I could throw down like a good run here, or like you have that urge ever to like?
Man, gosh, I feel like I got it out of my system. You know what I mean?
Okay,
yeah, I feel like I got it out of my system. I just always I always want to do something for the right reason. Like no matter what it is, I just like, all right, am I doing this for the right reason? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's do it. No. Okay, let's not do it. And I felt strongly about like hey, I think I'm done competing. Like I want to add something, even like, when I finished competing, I was like, what can I add to like our sport? And I was like, well, I want to do slopestyle tricks in like natural terrain. So I like set my sights on that and like made a video part that was like a lot of goals that I wanted to accomplish. And it's wild right now, like there's so many great riders doing so many great things. And I'm such a fan of this sport, and I don't want to like go out and do something to try to like prove that I can still do it. If I go out riding for fun and it's like on jumps and stuff like that, I'm gonna do tricks that make me feel good and that like I really enjoy doing. And with slopestyle, I was like, y'all got that covered. Yeah. In comes the new talent, and they change the sport, and they're doing things that are out of my league. And so I think when I stopped competing, I was in a place where I'm like, you guys have this covered, like I don't think there's anything that I would add to this. And so like proving grounds like would be like the thing that maybe I'd be most inclined to having that FOMO feeling for, because
Which proving grounds is a free ride contest.
Yeah, it's like a free ride contest on bigger bikes, but like not like big mountain to the degree of Rampage. And so there was a proving grounds non-competition, but like, a content session in Pacific City last September. And I went and did that, and that was awesome. And, it's just jam sessions on different things. And so for that, I would be like, yeah, I want a piece of that action, like I want to go do that. So I did, and that was fun. And like, it felt really good to get back in there with everybody and just like ride and do things that make me feel good, and I enjoyed that. But in terms of competition, I get asked that a lot. Do you ever wish you were out there? And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, yeah. I felt pretty confident about stopping competing when I did.
That's awesome. I was doing our like local trails the other week and got to the top, and I saw a guy who's much older than all of us, probably combined, old dude, like 70s or 80s.
Damn,
and he climbed up, and I was like, oh man, like you climbed that whole thing? He's like, yeah. I was like, how you feel? He's like, yeah, good. Like, oh wow, I hope I can do that when I'm your age. And he's like, well, you just gotta keep doing it. If you just keep doing it, you'll keep doing it. And
dude,
I was like, oh, that's really smart.
Yes, listen to what old people say.
Yeah, because if you stop doing it, you'll stop doing it.
Yes, like I don't know, that's like a thing that I think about a lot. Is like when okay, I'm like a dad, and there's a lot of cliche things people tell you when you're a new father, and you're like, yeah, it's like, you just heard it so many times that you don't even think about what the words mean. And then your kids get a little bit older and you find yourself saying those things to younger people who just had their first, and you're like, oh my God. And then so that made me realize, I go like, all right, when old people tell you something, as cliche as it might sound, try to figure out what they're feeling when they're telling you that, because it means something. It's not just like something to breeze over, is you're going to be saying it soon too. And the same goes, like I hang out with people who are older than me a lot. I hang out with people who are younger than me a lot. The younger than me a lot is because of being around all those slopestyle riders. We go to 4 stops around the world throughout the summer season. So I end up like rubbing elbows with those guys a lot, and they're a lot younger than me. And they're all really cool kids. And so it's like what the older people tell you, you're gonna probably say soon. And when the younger people tell you, you're probably gonna say soon too, because they're growing up in a world that, is becoming the world that you're now going to live in. So it's just like that old dude, those are words of wisdom right there.
Totally.
You don't get old. You don't stop skating because you get old. You get old because you stop skating. I don't remember who said that, but I read that on like, the Instagrams or something where you're flooded with so much shit every day. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's like true.
Yeah.
And you probably like mountain biking is a hard thing to do until you're 70.
For sure.
But you got to stay healthy to be able to do that, But you have to keep doing it, but also stay healthy, which is a fine balance. Things like longboard surfing and playing music are things that I'm like, I'm going to do these forever, no matter what. And then mountain biking is like, I'm going to do this forever if I'm lucky, because I could get up to a feature and be like, I'm going to do this crazy trick because I've done this crazy trick, and that has bit me, and so I showed up to a road gap in Utah a couple years ago, and it's a road gap that I had done a big trick on, And I was there and I hit it twice and I was like, why are you like faffing around? Just flip it. And I wasn't ready to flip it quite yet. And I over-rotated and like ate it. And I was like, that was not cool. But it's like, just because you've done something before doesn't mean you shouldn't take a bunch of practice runs in. And so like, I don't know, as much as like I feel this click right here from that like a lot, it's a reminder. And I go like, all right, dude, like you can still do these things, but make sure you take the same amount of practice runs that you need to do it before you go and do it. Don't think like, well, I've done this, this, and this, so I should just do this right now. You know, like that's probably a trick to being able to like be fortunate enough to be like that old dude you saw riding in the 70s. Like we want to be that old dude, right? Riding in our 70s.
Yeah, riding in some capacity.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be the same as you were when you were in your 30s, but
flowing berms and like scrubbing jumps and stuff. Like if you could still lay into a dump 3 at a later age, that would be awesome.
That would be cool.
Kurt Voorhees
Scary.
is an inspiration for that. He just
That's
turned 50 and like he's cracking 3s all the way down the jump trail at Big Bear this year and stuff like that.
I couldn't believe
So
this
that's
like
awesome.
wheelie wall ride thing they did. Like a wheelie with his foot on the seat or something like that. Like,
Totally.
that was
He does so much crazy stuff. And it's not because his body is intact either. It's because because he loves it so much that he's able to get his creaky bones out of bed in the morning and go send something cool.
Well, he's also like the perfect pit viper ambassador, riding a recumbent bike on jumps and shit.
Yeah, it's like that company, that doesn't work for everybody, you know? For Kurt, that works.
Oh, yeah.
He can do the pit viper thing for sure.
All right. Well, so we're getting down to the wire. I want to ask some general rapid fire questions, sir, Mr. McCall. What's your background? What's McCall? Is that some sort
I think
of...
it's Scottish.
I think that's what I said. I took a swing and I nailed it.
Scottish.
Very
My whole name is so Scottish. You know, like that, what's that movie, like, Our Freedom?
Braveheart.
Yeah, Braveheart. His name's William Wallace, right? So my middle name is Wallace, Cameron Wallace McCall. And I remember going to Scotland to watch my brother race Fort William when he was a junior. And like, I realized how Scottish my whole name was because you'd see a lot of Cameron, you see a lot of Wallace, you'd see a lot of McCall. And I'm like, whoa, I guess I'm Scottish.
I think I sent you a photo of one of those like real estate notepads that you get, you know, in the mail.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
free. And there's a real estate agent, Sam McCall, in my area. I always see Sam McCall and I think of you every single time.
Thanks, dude.
Sam McCall.
Sam McCall.
It's like you, but in a mustache or something.
I got to link up with him. We could form a team.
All right. So general questions. Shittiest job you ever worked?
Dude,
I feel like you've been a pro mountain biker forever.
I know it's
even have a
kind of
job?
weird. Like I'm not really living in the real world, but I got to start living in it at some point, I think. But like, yeah, I started doing the mountain bike thing so early that like my first job was not shitty. It was like really sick.
So you never had a, you know,
No, I had a job
minimum wage
before. It was
job?
just really sick.
Oh,
it was a
what was
mellow job. It was just a summer job, and I was like a young teenager, like 14 or something like that. 13, 14. I was working with the junior lifeguard program in Aptos, and like after you are like too old to go through the junior lifeguards, you like train to be an assistant. So you got to like go through and do CPR and stuff like that, and like know a few things, but basically you just show up at the beach. They like the kids swim around buoys and stuff like that. So you swim out and set the buoys, or you paddle out, set the buoys, set the flag down there, and then just like tell the kids what to do. Like you hang out at the beach all day during the summertime in Aptos, California.
that's hot.
So that was my other job. And then I started getting sponsors at 16. And so then it was just like all cool job.
What was the
after
first sponsor?
Fox was my first sponsor. Yeah, I did the Race Face Ultimate Freeride Challenge and got second to our good old friend Matt Hunter. And then I signed with Fox the next day. And that's what my next interview is about. It's about Fox. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. And so
I'm just realizing that you must be a huge reason why I was obsessed with Fox as a young kid. I had a
Sick.
Fox hat, never took it off. You go to the West 49. You know what West 49 is? Is that Canadian?
That's Canadian.
Okay, well, it's like a hot topic, maybe?
Like a Billabong?
Oh, no, it's like a Zoomies.
Zoomies.
Zoomies,
Yeah,
yeah, Zoomies.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the
state
Zoomies,
store.
find the nicest Fox shirt I could, $30 or whatever. Oh, please.
Yeah,
I need
I mean,
it.
That's
we have a joke
awesome.
about it, right? Like when you go to
Yeah.
a party, you pick out your nicest Fox shirt.
Yeah. yeah.
Just,
a nice
you're a mountain
Fox
biker.
pocket tee right here.
But yeah,
Nice.
me as a kid, I was like synonymous with like Fox stuff. It was like, yeah, all the
That's
kids.
right.
just
It's
knew.
classic, dude. I mean, like, it's the same for me, though. I grew up watching Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, like Pastrana was on Fox. The reason I got into mountain biking and trying to grab my seat and hang off the back of it with my legs crossed is we went to 1999 X Games in San Francisco and watched Travis Pastrana, like, just, you know, give everybody goosebumps racing that freestyle course, doing that iconic poster of him doing that Sea Grub Indian air with the Bay Bridge in the background. My brother and I were just impressionable little Groms out there watching that, and that moment changed my life for sure. But like, yeah, that Fox, she's like, oh, Fox is awesome, you know? And Fox is just like, it's classic, you know? Like that sweatshirt, they've probably been like selling this same sweatshirt for 50 years, you know? It's just a classic, I don't know.
Simple.
Love it, yeah.
Oh God, I got a bubble in my throat. Shouldn't have ate the sandwich.
Burp it out.
I was drawing the fox all the time. I made like a jewelry box that was in the same shape of the fox. That was my favorite shape.
Oh my God. You just reminded me. So like way before I had anything to do with Fox, I was like young. I was getting braces and getting my retainers. They said, if you want any sticker, any like logo in there, bring us a sticker and we'll like resize it and mold it in. So the retainer that I got when I was a kid and I still have now has a fox head on it.
Oh, wow. That's sick.
Dude, you gotta like put that in like a little silicone box and like they should display
I
it.
still use it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it fits.
Yeah. Unless I haven't used it for a while.
Yeah, I don't understand how that works. People are still wearing the same retainers from when they were like 10.
I know. Like, your teeth get crooked, then you wear them and it fixes them again.
Doesn't the head grow? Anyways, I guess you've never been fired.
Oh yeah, plenty. Yeah, for sure. I mean, but not like in the typical sense, you know.
Okay, well, tell us the time you were
Well,
fired.
you lose sponsors and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah.
That's different from being fired. Is like if you screwed up and your contract was like gone mid season or something.
Yeah, no, I've never had like a bad breakup with the sponsors. It's always been like, yeah, that's the way the world works. You know?
Everybody loves Cam. Okay, well, so here's a downer question. What are you finding difficult these days?
I mean, challenges are good, you know? Like challenges make you grow. So I like to look at like difficult situations and be like, what can I learn from this? But like, you know, parenthood is challenging, but that's a good, like one of my favorite musicians has like so many like great quotes that should be on all these buttons right here. But like
The haters of the soundboard just turned this off.
Nah.
put that in your pipe and smoke it. But life is hard because it's worth it. Like that's a quote that one of my favorite musicians says in like every interview that I listen to of him. And that's like, I like that, you know, like it's supposed to be hard. Like you're like raising humans, you know, and I've got 2 daughters and they're really cool kids. And like, there's just daily things that pop up where you're like, oh, that's challenging, you know, but like, it's hard because it's worth it. And to bring it back to the Fox thing, like they grow up and like, you know, you're like, oh, I used to draw a fox. They think my favorite animal is fox. You love foxes, Dad, because they don't like get, you know, but like, yeah, that's a challenge. And then, yeah, I mean, it's making a living doing what I do is not the easiest thing, right? You don't have like a lot of security in that. So what do I find challenging? That's challenging. You know, I'm like moving into the next stage of life. I'm 38 and a lot of people my age are a few years older. I say that I hang out with people who are a lot older than me and a lot younger than me. I also hang out with a lot of people who are just a touch older than me. And like, they started doing a normal job right out of high school. They started thinking like, what is my career path right out of high school? Whereas like, I was just like doing Indian airs and like, woo, like, yeah, like let's commentate a broadcast after that. And like, let's make video parts. And you know, it's like, I'm still kind of living this like recreational / job life, you know, and that can be challenging at times, you know. I'm like, but I'm also like raising kids and have kids, and there's like life doesn't get cheaper as you get older, you know. So that is also challenging, but I'm working my way through that too.
What would you tell your younger self if you could go back in time, give a little advice?
Wow, I'd probably be like, start a business in the bike industry. Yeah. That was probably one thing I would be like, start a business in the bike industry.
What kind of business? We're talking parts. We're talking
stickers,
apparel.
If I knew, I would have started it a long time ago. I don't know. Like, I love seeing the riders who are doing it now. Like I was just shooting the breeze with Josh Lewis, Loose Dog, because he DJ'd after, you know, we did the little set the other night with Lemoyne, and like asking him how 50-1 is going. I think it's really good for our sport and our culture for the characters within it to start brands and like take some ownership over it. And like it has a lot of roots in the culture for a brand like 50 to 1. Like I love what he's doing. And like Zinc with Census, you know, he found a good category that's like, you know, selling a part that everybody needs and everybody's gonna rebuy and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd probably tell myself to like figure out a category that isn't being done right. It's easier said than done. Hindsight's 2020. So it's like you could still do it now, but like, you know, maybe would have had a little bit more disposable income to start something back then, you know. But that's my answer to that question. What would you tell your younger self? Yeah.
Okay, probably got time for one more. It's 9:20.
And we got a game.
Yeah,
And
then
we
we
gotta
got the
take
game.
pictures.
Yeah. Okay. Can you define sorry. Can you share a defining moment in your life or career?
Yeah. Man, like picking up the phone at 2 a.m. When my good friend Jim DeChamp called, definitely like changed my life a whole lot. He invited me to come down and practice for Nitro Circus, and through that, I ended up touring with them for a couple years. But I met my wife through doing that, just because we were down in San Diego practicing on that ramp that I mentioned earlier where my brother landed that first triple tail up. But yeah, I was like, answered that phone. Jim called me at 2 a.m. and for some reason I answered. He's like, come down tomorrow. And I like could do whatever I wanted because it's just like, had nothing else going on. I was just living up in Santa Cruz and I'm like, big jump tomorrow, 8 hours away. I'm there, you know? And that was like a dream come true, being able to go be a part of that tour. And, you know, I mentioned how like I got onto a mountain bike because I went to X Games and got inspired through that. And so then I was just like rubbing elbows with Travis, and I met like my current best friend now, Dusty Weigel. He still does the Nitro tour. So I met my wife and my best friend, and we, you know, Dusty and his family, we live in the same town now. So our kids are growing up together, and we got a little band together and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a pretty defining moment. And I think it was cool to be able to like be a mountain biker on that tour too, because a lot of the time my goal as I was competing was to take slopestyle and show that it is just as rad as all those other sports that are in X Games and everything, you know, like we were the redheaded stepchild to like BMX and surf and skate and snow and moto. It's like mountain biking, lame. It's like, no, it's not lame. It's awesome. I feel like all those other sports recognize how badass it is now if they watch slopestyle competition out here or they watch Rampage. I'm pointing as if Utah's that direction, but I don't think it is. But like, you know, mountain biking is in a place now. So to like, at that point in time when it wasn't in that place, to rub elbows with all those athletes who are at the tippity top of their sport and to meet them and be like, hey, you guys seen mountain biking? Check it out. It's cool. And then they're like, hey, that is kind of cool, you know, and to see where it is now. Yeah, that's a defining moment, I think, you know.
Not what I expected. I thought you'd say when we first met at Summer Gravity Camps, but okay.
But don't forget.
Do you remember young Matt at Summer Gravity Camps?
I do, man. I felt so bad because we had a little video we were gonna shoot, and then I crashed, and like then we couldn't finish the video, and I was like, sorry.
No, we finished
Matt.
the video.
We did. We finished the video.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, because from my perspective, I'm like, holy crap, I get to shoot with McCaul's. It's freaking awesome.
No, that was fun.
No, I don't even remember.
You were awesome to shoot with.
I think you did like a tail whip up on the fade to black.
Yeah.
Step up, step down. That was crazy.
Sick.
That's the craziest thing I've still seen on that.
Oh, sweet.
And I just remember how cool you were with the kids. You just like, that still stuck with me. I still think about that occasionally. I'm just like, what would Cam do in this occasion?
Sick.
You know, he would just be nice and kind and friendly and you know, just
Like an advocate for the sport and an advocate for like pro riders in general.
Those are the things that are
Inspired.
important, man. Like I just always think back, like I was lucky enough to be able to coach summer gravity camps with Chandro for a lot of years, and it was a blast. And I met so many cool kids, so many cool families. Like, yeah, Max Langelo is going to be out on Joyride. Mm-hmm. He was a camper, you know, referenced Finn Isles and his brother Jack, and obviously Finn is who he is now. But like not even the ones who turned into pro riders. Like you bump into people around the world now traveling, and they're like, hey, do you remember I did summer gravity camps? And like I kind of remember the face. I was like, oh yeah. And they're like, my brother. I'm like, oh, I remember you. Or there's people in the industry now, you know, or like, you know, they're now like a designer at Fox or something like that. And they're like, hey man, do you remember me from camp? And I'm like, oh yeah. So that's really cool. But really like those years coaching or just like any event, being around like youngsters who are so passionate about the sport, they remind me of myself when I came through it. And there was my idols who like took me under their wing, like Aaron Chase, you know, he was filming that video that you showed earlier, but he was like my idol, man. I'd watch him in videos, and Kurt Vorey is like my idol. And then, you know, a couple years later, they're like my best friends. And we go on trips together and we compete together and like we're still friends. And so I'm like, those guys embraced me and that meant so much. And like all these families that do, you know, come out and show up at bike parks and stuff like that, they're all cool people. Like this sport is a magnet for cool people. And a lot of these families are good families. They're facilitating their kids doing a healthy hobby, like healthy, but like it sticks with you. It is a thing you can do for your whole life. And so you meet great people in it. And those people tend to stick around the scene for decades as we've seen now. And so it's cool to be a part of that.
But my favorite Cam McCall moment is you in the sickest edit ever.
That was fun.
Coming in.
The rollerblade is, I can't even do that.
My silly straw.
Squiggly straws.
That was amazing. You
Good
are
accent.
like, wait, can I do my own like script? I kind of wrote on my own stuff. You had like 5 pages and shot list.
Yeah. Well, like you gave me like the layout to it. And then I was driving all the way up here from, I think, California at the time. So I had so much time to think about it. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to say this, do this. And then you guys are always so dialed on your like, on your stuff, but you were down to let me fucking
Yeah, you
go
sent
off
me a
the
text.
script
You're
little
like,
bit.
is it okay? I wrote some stuff. Is it okay if I do? I'm like, yeah, this rarely happens.
Yeah,
That someone's
that's
like,
great.
hey, I kind of thought about this.
It was fun. It's like,
show
yeah,
up.
it's fun, you know, having a little blank canvas for creativity like that.
Oh, yeah. People are always bringing that up to me. It's pretty funny. All right, okay, let's wrap this thing up. Want to play a game?
Yeah, always.
Okay, we have a game. It's called This or That.
Okay.
You're going to get 2 options, either this or that.
Oh, okay, cool.
And you got to pick whichever one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Question
This is
1.
like X-Files. Dana Scully.
Bar
Mulder.
spin or suicide no-hander?
Sui. You can do it on any bike and it like gives you a moment to stall out and everybody likes it.
Yeah. Coffee or beer?
Coffee? Like coffee is mandatory every single day.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, I love me some beer.
Favorite beer? Nevada?
Sierra Nevada. You know
Hard to
it.
get up here.
Is it?
It's a little hard. It's not everywhere, but it's delicious. Rampage or Joyride?
Rampage.
Nice. Electric or acoustic?
Oh, electric, baby.
Oh. People are more mad at that than the soundboard.
Aptos or bend?
Oh, Aptos. I'm sorry. Oh,
You good?
wiggle. Okay, we're back. We're back. Yeah. I'm
Wiggle
sorry.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Go get her.
Whistler or Mount Bachelor?
Whistler. Love you, Matt Bachelor.
Black Sabbath or Metallica?
Black Sabbath.
Pia Marble or Poopa Baseball?
I peed a blood clot.
What the hell?
Pia Marble. Been there.
Yeah, you're already,
We're gonna need a
you're
part
already
2.
expanded.
Yeah. I prepped.
You prepped.
It went thunk.
And it went did-did-did-did-did. Playing soundboard roulette over here.
Teeter Tower or Jumbotron drop?
Jumbotron drop.
Oh,
Bring it back.
Yeah, it's so good.
Might disagree with you there.
Chamois or no chamois?
No chamois.
It's just rock solid down there. 420 or 69?
69.
Flip or 360?
360.
Nice. Bear Claw Invitational or Highland Claymore Challenge?
Oh, wow. Whoa. Bear Claw Invitational.
Nice. You've won both, right?
Yeah.
That's throwback. Riding in the desert or in the forest?
The forest.
Nice. Slope Duro or DH bike?
Slope Duro.
Banger film segment or banger contest run?
Banger film segment. Lives forever.
Dick size nipples or nipple size dick?
Oh god.
Size nipples.
He just touched his own nipples to figure it out.
No, I had to really think about which one it was. Like, yeah, I'll take some pointers.
They don't always have to point. And
They can be flaccid too.
Yeah, it's a dick. He was Spider-Maning with them. And
like
finally, Space Mesa or Universe Plateau?
Space Mesa, baby.
And that was this or that.
You
Good
know
job.
what Space Mesa is. That's awesome.
Of course I know.
Thank you. That's sick.
Good
That was
job.
fun. Like we should have had that like X-Files music going through the whole interview.
That's not X Files. It's supposed to be Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh,
Yeah,
phone a
it's close.
friend.
Yeah, no, the X Files would be like,
I almost had to phone a friend, take a lifeline for coffee or beer because I love it. Oh, you have that one too? Oh my god! Were they really riding aliens in downhill domination? Stay tuned.
in episode 69. All right, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Cam. You are now late to your next thing. Sorry, fuck them. Who cares? Just
Fuck
Fox.
'em!
Just Fox. Who cares?
Thank you guys so much, man. I
Yeah.
love what you guys do. I
That was
love the
sick.
fact. I love that you do so much, and I know it's not easy. So thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for having me here.
Oh, thank you, man. Thanks, and thanks for being a part of our mean comments too. We really,
yeah.
we brought back some traumatic memories with that Volkswagen video, which I watched last night. And I was like, what the hell? It's like
People are harsh, man.
half a million views on that thing too. It did pretty well.
Not bad. Yeah.
People hate people being successful.
But it's the most
Fuck them.
the most viewed video on your YouTube channel. That's why it came up.
Yeah, totally. Even though like the mulch jump, front flip, and the Jackson hits the pull jump are the best videos.
Oh yeah.
The bangers.
Yeah, if you're listening out there, you want more Cam McCall, go to his YouTube channel, Cam McCall, and sort by oldest. That'll
totally.
that'll entertain you.
Yeah,
Totally.
definitely. There's tons of stuff on there.
And listen
right.
to Space Mesa. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let us know if you're going to be playing guitar at another show.
Hopefully,
sometime.
man, it'd be cool to get the whole band up here for next year's Crankworx. We played Northwest Tune Up. We opened up for a doom band called Yob, and it was so fun. And so, yeah, hopefully we do more of it. It's fun. I think mountain biking needs things to do like that at nighttime. So,
More recreational activities.
Yeah, shout out to Lemoyne and like Electric Blanket Band Club for doing it here in Whistler. It was sick.
Yeah.
And Loose Dog for spinning.
And shout out to
Jackson
the
Goldstone
Ava.
is a DJ now too, though. Did you hear that?
I did see
He's
that.
doing a party. He's doing a party on Saturday. He's going to be the guest DJ at a party. Sick.
All these side quests. It's
How to
crazy.
be a mountain biker. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, like, give us some love. If you made it this far, leave us a comment. Check out our merch, mahalamadude.com, and leave us a speak pipe. Cam, maybe sometime, we got nothing to do. You're twiddling your thumbs on the couch, and you're like, I wonder what Matt, Jason, and Dave are doing. You can leave us a speak pipe, a voicemail.
Yeah, it's a voicemail.
Speakpipe.com/feeding off each other. Just hit that link, just hit a button and talk.
I'll do that.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
You should do it too.
Yeah. And shout out to the Ava for ripping apart a hotel room and changing it into this banquet room, as you called it. And
There's a bed in the bathroom.
yeah, it's been relocated.
And we didn't do it this time. They did it.
Oh, thanks, Ava.
Yeah, thank you, Ava.
And as always,
Are you metaphorically well fed? It's feeding off each other.
I feel well fed and ready for the day.
Yes.
No, no, no,
Take another bite. Thank you for listening to Feeding Off Each Other. Please subscribe for more great podcasts.